Welcome
to Film
Shapes,
the podcast.
Why aren't there any more children, Mother?
There used to be.
Then why did you only make one?
Mothers need time to learn. This facility was designed to give humanity a second chance. One that began with you. Daughter.
All right, guys, welcome. Today, here we are with Roly. How are you, Roly?
Pretty well, thank you.
Good. And Parizad, hello.
Yes, hello.
How you going?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm okay. And I think the first time to join us, it's Rewi. How are you, Rewi?
Couldn't be better.
Is this your first time on the podcast?
It is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, welcome. Tonight, we're going to be... Go on.
Oh, sorry. Do you listen to the podcast regularly, Rewi?
Roly, I think it's fair to say that I have listened to the podcast now more than ever before.
Very political.
Good answer.
Thanks. We probably didn't need that bit. Anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about I Am Mother. This is a science fiction film from 2019, just last year, directed by a Perth director, Grant Sputore. Now, it takes place in an underground bunker, post-extinction event. It stars Clara Rugard as the daughter, Rose Byrne's voice in a robot as mother, and Hilary Swank as woman. Now, it's on Netflix now. So, guys, what do we think about this? Roly?
Oh, me first.
Go on.
Look, I enjoyed the first half of the film most, I think. I felt it got a little bit... I think condescending's a too strong a word, but I don't know what else to call it, where it was kind of started to over-explain things, I thought, at some point. And there's a bit more I've got to say to that, but maybe we'll go see what I'm curious what the others thought as well.
Yeah, okay. Parizad, what do you think?
I'm similar. I really enjoyed it. I liked the film overall. I found it a little, I wouldn't say condescending, but a little predictable towards the end.
Okay.
But then I also watch a lot of sci-fi, so maybe that's just because I'm a bit more exposed to those tropes.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I thought the acting was really good, including the voice acting from Mother.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Ray, how about you?
I also enjoyed it. I think I watched it a second time in preparation for this evening.
Oh, nice.
And I think because I was watching it again, I lost some of the surprise, which I guess is only natural. I think it was to pick up on Roly's suggestion. It was explaining things in just a little bit of a prosaic way towards the end.
Okay, but do you think that kind of needed that? It was pretty sparse. Only 3 actors and 2 of them physical. So I don't know. I thought. Yeah. That didn't get too prosaic at the end. I thought it was a little bit... I still had to double-check myself when... Okay, hang on. We're going to spoil this from now, I guess. Let's say, here comes a spoiler. Sorry, it's time to...
Before you do, before...
What?
Can I just want to ask something. Okay. I kind of think of this film as a two-hander. Are you familiar with the term?
No.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, go on. Why not a...
Well, it's not a three-hander because that's not a thing. But also, one of the actors is not there physically; it's a voice actor kind of thing. So a lot of the drama is held, and the other actor is also a robot. So a lot of the drama has to be held.
Hang on, no. Who are the 2 hands then? What are you talking about?
Well, it's the daughter,
yes, and mother,
and the prisoner.
Okay, no.
Are we talking about the same film here?
Have you? What's the? It's called I Am Mother. Yeah, I don't think the Hilary Swank character is that important.
Oh God.
She's the third hand, if you like. No, okay, if she wasn't in the film, it'd be pretty dull. But let's say
Yeah.
she's the fly in the ointment, as it were. The other two, it's
Yeah.
where the drama is, surely.
No.
No?
Not
Who's
in
going to
my-
back me up here, Ray?
Need someone back me
Parizad?
up.
Oh,
Are we?
look,
Hang
I
on.
think,
So, are we debating whether the movie is daughter and prisoner or daughter and mother?
Kind
Yeah.
of, yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with daughter mother.
Thank you. Ray?
I can only agree that the introduction of Hilary Swank's character throws the drama in. That's without that. There's
true.
There's a little bit of suspense, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard to see it as a two-hander when you've got a disembodied voice as being.
Yeah.
Can
I think,
ask
Roly,
no, let me ask Ray one thing. If
Okay.
it was a two-hander, who would the two hands be? Would it be
If
the
it
girl
was,
and the robot?
if it was,
Would it be the girl and the other lady?
no, Rolly, I see your logical fallacy there. I'm not going to fall into that trap. You're asking me
Simple question, my friend.
to accept an assumption which I cannot accept.
If it was a two-hander, that is. All right. So,
You're not getting any points extra there, Roly. Sorry.
all right.
No,
I'm happy to move on.
but I think you're being a little bit AI-ist here. Anyway, if you're thinking that the robot is not really how did you see her role in it then?
The robot. Well,
Yeah.
see, this is maybe where it comes from because I had some issues with the robot character, and I felt like it was not explained, or that over-explaining thing. So, for instance, there's a point in this film, without spoiling it too much, where the robot becomes a kind of a more typically evil character. It goes from talking like a very solid kind of robot voice. It goes to the point where it points the fingers in the girl into to cause some pain
to the wound. Yeah.
Where are the minds? And it slows down. It's like, what? Why does the robot have to be then suddenly be made to be an evil kind of character? It's a robot. I would have been more convinced by this film in a way if they didn't go there with the robot and turn it into a villain.
But it's a robot. It's an AI, right? It's learning. It's becoming villainous. So I don't worry about that bit too much.
But where's it learning its villainy from then? I mean, Hollywood movies or actual interactions? Because I feel there was no need for it to be quite so villainous as it was, even within the the boundaries of the script.
Look, I didn't. I mean, it didn't go, Professor Snape or anything silly like that, did it? I didn't even notice that, to be fair.
A little bit. It got a little bit Snape for me.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah. Unnecessarily so.
Right. Touch of unnecessary Snapeness. Yeah. That didn't bother me too much. No, to be fair.
Okay.
What were we doing before all this? This going off.
You said you were going to
verging
spoil
into
it.
spoilers. Yeah.
Yes, right. Okay. So at the end, jump right to the end here, where she shuts the door of the container. I had to start thinking then. I mean, that may have been quite simple for you folk, but I was thinking, what? What the hell? What's going on there? No?
What do you mean?
Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to lay this out.
You're talking about like the very, very end.
Yes.
All right.
So how far back do I go? You see a point where it says days since the extinction event, 13,000 and something, right? That's about 38 years, something like that. That daughter is not 38, right?
No.
She's about 20 or something, 18, 20. So, and then we find later there have been, this is getting really, really spoiler. So if you haven't seen this, people, shut off right now. But there have been two, at least two others before Daughter?
No,
That was
Yeah.
my assumption from it, yeah.
You think many more, Rewi?
Yeah, many more.
Okay. Well, it just looked like she'd only drawn out the first couple of embryos, like one, and
Sure.
she was AXP3 or something. So I took it she was doing it in numerical order. But anyway, could be more, yeah. So then it took me a little while to realize, so Swank's character was one of those early ones.
Yeah.
I assumed she was number one.
Yeah, okay. So, because number two was found partly charred, right? Or a
Yeah.
jawbone or something, right?
I didn't get that at all.
No, not at all?
No. But
Okay.
that's
Not even at the end.
Yeah, when she shuts her in by saying something like, it's almost like you were designed to have a purpose, wasn't it? Up until now, shut
Yeah.
the door,
Up until now,
kill Swank.
yeah.
Which then it starts to get a bit iffy in its suggestions, like that she was created to eventually create a moral situation for the good one, and if you pass that, then things are hunky dory. So therefore, that's why I was thinking it wasn't so simple. I had to think about that, and I even went to what was this film school rejects website to double check it as well. So just a big shout out to those guys there.
So in some aspects, then it's there's a few extra layers, some of which I haven't picked up on. But then there's this other layer of it where it feels over-explainy and whatever the word is that we're all looking for, which we can't find it. I think I'm a bit biased in a way because I put it down in my mind subconsciously. I think when I'm watching a film which I know to be Australian, I put it down to how the funding system works and how the tick boxes need to be ticked. And I look at, I'm watching the film, but I'm also watching a parallel film, which is just about the decision-making process of how they got the money to make the film. And it's like, it's a shame they had to go down that route just to serve this imaginary audience that the funding bodies have in their mind, which doesn't really exist. It's a shame they don't just give the power to the director or the filmmaker and say, you know what, we'll take a chance on you. Go and do your thing. It feels overly a film like there's been too much collaboration almost with parties that shouldn't necessarily be involved in that process. Ooh, is that harsh?
Well, you haven't named names, so I think you got to name names if you want to be harsh.
No,
names,
yeah. So, I don't necessarily need to do that because I don't know who funded the film. I think Australia had something to do with it. I know Netflix bought it after it was made, so now they're all patting themselves on the back going, hey, we made some great decisions there. Netflix bought it. But it could have been so much better than it actually was.
Well, yeah, I'm not privy to all those arguments there, but it seemed like it did have a whole bunch of production companies at the very start of the credits. A few Aussie ones, and I don't know, maybe they're all Aussie. I'm not too sure, but I didn't. I mean, this wasn't another Underbelly or something. It wasn't really, and it wasn't something like Red Dog, right? It didn't seem like it was typically Australian. So
I didn't.
Consciously,
really know it
consciously
was,
not.
Yeah.
Except for what, Parizad?
Except for that Screen Australia logo at the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know, Roly. I'm not sure if.
I think the bias that I have in knowing that it's an Australian-made film, but when I look at it, I think, it's a film that, and it could be any film where this happens, where it just could have been so much better. That second half, all of us have said, it wasn't quite up to the standard of Blade Runner, was it?
The standard of what?
Blade Runner, for instance.
Oh, that's a
Blade Runner. Are we setting the bar too high there? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Why not?
Well, a first-time director with a budget probably.
He's directed other. Yeah, he's not a first-time director, but
I think that is setting the bar too high. This is a calling card, really, for him. This is his first feature, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think, was he involved in that other one shot in Perth, When the World Ends or something?
Hey?
Tomorrow When the No, that's that other
Well,
one.
that's a
Tomorrow
TV show, isn't it?
War Began?
I think I know the one you're referring to.
Book, but it's a apocalyptic style end of days type film shot in Perth on a much lower budget as well. Probably a lower budget than this film.
Yeah, I mean, this had Weta, didn't it? The Kiwi company that makes all the stuff, the CGI props and stuff like that. Yeah.
It definitely deserves to be made. It deserved to get the money. This guy deserved to get a chance. I think it's great. He's from Perth and he's done so much better than a lot of other kind of directors might do with an idea.
Right.
But yeah, I just think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I can't help but think that a lot of that comes from the process that you have to go through to make a film, and that maybe if it was left to creative hands rather than people that think they know what the audience wants, then it would be a better
These
film.
Final Hours is the film you were thinking.
These Final Hours, thank you. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Good research there, Roby. Thank you.
No worries.
Look, I think I'm not sure. I don't know what happened before this, but it seemed like this script was on a blacklist, meaning it's one of the good scripts floating around that lots of people want to get involved in.
Yep.
So, and to get Swank, she's won a couple of Oscars, and Rose Byrne's pretty sought after. I mean, this could have been done with somebody from Play School. You know what I mean? Like it has actually.
Georgie Parker.
Could have been Georgie Parker and I don't know who else is on Play School these days. Anyway,
but Roly, can I ask, is your issue with the way things were explained, or is your issue with the actual way that the plot sort of rolled out?
I think it's just certain elements, and there's not that many of them in there, which kind of just spoilt it a bit for me. Like just the tone that they decided to go with the robot. The big reveal at the end where they the robot is part of a network and it's the same consciousness as the one outside, and it's not that big a reveal. It wasn't that big a moment really to reveal that, and I think it didn't need to be even said necessarily. So, or there might be a better way of going about revealing some of the things about the past.
I think.
Go on.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I had the same issues for different reasons though, because I also didn't really like that reveal, but mostly because it just felt really predictable, and it felt like, of course, that's the way the story would play out. Whereas I would have loved it if, the whole way through we're given indications that Mother is not everything she claims to be. And I would have loved it if at the end it turns out that she was, and, we see her go down in this, like, I don't know, maybe she ends up getting destroyed trying to protect daughter and the new brother. To me, that would have been a much more enjoyable ending to the film. Not enjoyable, but a better ending to the film, rather than it just kind of playing out the standard AI sci-fi tropes that we've all kind of seen time and again.
But isn't there a different angle here, though? She's actually quite benevolent, isn't she?
There's a couple of things, I guess.
She's benevolent towards daughter only because she's created her in a very specific image. She's also the entity behind the extinction event. You realize this, right?
Yeah.
But you've got to have some sympathy with her. We are twats.
Well, I don't. But this is the thing. I don't think they need to make her evil to have the rest of the film play out in a convincing way. Like, she didn't have to.
Yeah.
She didn't have to slow the voice down and go, "Where the mines. Like, it just felt it was too much.
Yeah, you've got an issue with that scene, I reckon.
It was the only one it was the only one I actually wrote down. So
Okay.
it's staring at me from the notes.
Okay, Ray, you were about to say something about a couple of ideas.
Well, I think so. I got two things. One which is my thought, and one which I'm stealing quite blatantly from my partner. So, first of all, it's a coming of age movie told from the perspective of an authoritarian parent. It's the child rebelling, but rebelling only to the extent that is permitted by the parent. The whole setup of swank as being, the organ through which the daughter's rebellion is manifested, but then snuffed out. And the child, in the end, conforms to the parent's dictates. So I think that that's why I sort of think about it as a coming of age. She eventually agrees and does comply. But the other thing, and this is the sort of following on the thought train my partner brought to it, which is the question about motherhood being provided by an artificial intelligence through robotic extension at all, and that the idea that motherhood can be provided by a construct of humans rather than by humans to their own offspring. And what does that say about what the director or the screenwriter, how they conceive of motherhood? I don't know the answer to that. I just think that whereas familiar things like the Skynet concept of a uniform or a unitary, the Borg-like unitary consciousness, yes, that's familiar and predictable. And the idea of a benevolent AI, an AI thought to be benevolent, then turning quite malevolent. Hello to Hal in 2001. So those things are, known, and they're not particularly new. But the reconceptualization of that in this sense of motherhood is a twist on that.
And I actually really liked that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Roly.
I was just going to say the eugenics is strong in this film as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, that's kind of why I think I would have enjoyed it if the ending was that she just really was benevolent. I really liked the idea of them portraying an AI as sentient, like properly sentient, complete with emotions, because that's something that has been attempted before, but not quite to the extent of, being sentient enough to raise a child. Whereas, she seemed to do a pretty good job, apart from right at the end.
That's funny, because I think that's where I disagree with Parizad.
Yeah.
Well, I think an interesting angle on this film, it could have been a more interesting film to me if the humanoid robot wasn't even there. If it was a series of robot arms and moving pistons and things that still managed to bring up the child and have the daughter, you wouldn't even necessarily need that humanoid robot with the voice and everything going on at all.
Oh, look, I'd enjoy watching that too.
Yeah, where's the tension of the running robot, man? That's the running robot's a great thing to see.
And should say I love the design.
Yeah.
The whole production design of this film was amazing as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're too...
Sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
On the eugenics point, I think that was why I assumed that the prisoner was, attempt number one, was because the two of them looked so similar. They just looked like they were about a couple of decades apart in age, but that was about it.
Yeah.
There were a couple of scenes where they were side by side, and it looked like you were just looking at an older version of Daughter, which is where I kind of assumed that she was an older version of Daughter.
So who?
Yeah, I thought that's what we were supposed to think at the start. I think that the initial scenes certainly were leading us towards that, and that the discovery of the earlier versions was far more dramatic than the revelation that it was a single AI, for example.
Well, so hang on, was she supposed to be 63,000 clones then of the same girl? But there were dudes too, right?
No. I think maybe I've interpreted what you were saying incorrectly, but I thought you were saying that the footage of the sort of growth scene from baby through to Daughter included footage of the former and killed attempt, the failed attempt, and that was, we weren't supposed to think, oh, here are 4 or 5 different children being raised, that it was a single timeline. But
that's right.
At the end, it was revealed that footage that we saw of a younger daughter playing with toys in the sunlight was actually version 2.
Yes, yeah.
Can you clarify something for me then? The people that the Swank character was referring to, her team of friends, did they just not exist at all?
Ooh.
That was the part I wasn't clear on.
I think they probably did exist.
Are they clones?
And they were,
too? Yeah.
Well, why would she be? She wasn't acting all the way through on behalf of the AI, was she?
I don't know, but I don't think so.
She wasn't consciously.
Is this actually? Is she actually a clone? Are we sure about that?
No,
was she one of the embryos?
Yes, yeah. I think she was number 1.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second girl who got burnt to a crisp was doing poorly with her. She would have been number 2 if she was clever enough, I suppose. Hence the eugenic stuff, But again, on that, if they give now, Daughter is given free rein to raise all the others. Let's say not all of them, of course, but as many as she can. What's to say she's not a bad mother? Just because mother has taught her well doesn't mean she's going to get a bit frazzled. She's only human.
Well, yeah. What's the end game here?
Right. I mean, mother is still around, right? She's in other conscience. She's probably watering the fucking corn at the moment,
Yeah, and there was no. This was, I guess, also unsatisfying in the resolution of the film because there's a sort of sense that there's been a transfer of responsibility, but there was no renegotiation of authority as part of that. So it's not as if part of the deal then is that the daughter has now assumed final say on matters of life and death, whereas mother had previously held it. So at any point, mother could step in and say, right, this one's only getting 55% on her test scores, so she's for the burner.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's where we're left. Yeah,
that's what I figured. If she's still floating around, she can go back to the container to snuff out Swank. Then she's got every chance of popping back in and saying exactly that. And say, time to take over again.
Mines.
Where are the mines? Maybe she's going to go off and look for these fucking mines, Roly. Then will you be happy?
No, I don't.
Fair enough. Any final words, people?
I feel like there was a lot of background stuff happening in this movie that I would have actually enjoyed watching.
I'm guessing you're thinking about that long shot where they had that sort of, what was it, a city almost?
Yeah.
in the distance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the same thing with these people from the mines. Like, I would be curious to see if there actually is some kind of resistance on what's happening with them. Although, again, we're getting very much into, like, Terminator territory.
But that's
so
a
it has
successful
been done
piece of
before.
world building then that's been done by the film.
Yeah. I saw an interview with the director who says they have ideas. If people are ready to give them a green light, they're ready to go further with this story. So who knows? Okay. Maybe coming up. Yeah.
All right, well, how about
I thought it was pretty good.
Would you watch a sequel if it was there?
Yeah, I would. Yep. Roly?
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah. Rewi?
Yeah, look, I thought it was a good film, and when we're talking in this sort of sense, we're, I think inclined to find, not so much find fault, but to think critically about it. And but when I first watched it from start to finish, I thought it was a great film, and I'd happily watch it. Happily watched it again today, and I'd happily watch a sequel.
Yeah. So, I mean, it certainly got us talking, didn't it? We've been going half an hour or so.
Yeah, it's full of really interesting subject matter. I just don't think it's going to live in people's hearts and minds for decades to come. But, there's plenty of other films for that.
Yeah, sure. Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for tonight, people. And we'll see you again some other time.
All good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Daughter, your whole life I've taught you to see the bigger picture. Everything I do is to protect you.